Welcome back, students taking math for business and finance and math applications. We're working on the chapter 10 word problems, odd numbered problems, and we stopped on 1021, so we're picking up with 10-23. Okay, let's see what this one says. All right, Max Wholesaler borrowed $2,000 on a 10% 120-day note. Okay, so 2,000 is my principal, 10% is my rate, and a 20-day note is my time. It says after 45 days, Max paid $700 on the note. Okay, so that's a partial payment. And when we have the partial payment, what do we have to consider? We have to consider the US rule, right? Which means we have to, whatever payment there is, portion of that payment gets applied to the interest first, and then the remainder gets applied to the principal, right? So this is going to be kind of a lengthy problem with quite a few calculations here, because it says after 45 days out of the 120. So let me start drawing a timeline here so that I'm aware of what's going on. Okay. So here I'm at the beginning, and that's 2,000 borrowed at 10%. And this is going all the way out to 120 days. So after 45 days, he's paying $700 as a partial payment on that note. And then 30 days later, so 45 and 30 is 75 days, right? Or 30 days. Max paid an additional $630, right? Just paying that on that day. And so what is the final balance due? Okay, so what we need to do is, in this case here, we have to calculate the interest for the first, that's been accrued for the first 45 days. And then when he makes the payment, we have to take the $700 minus that interest. Okay, and that'll give us the amount that goes against the principal. And that amount that goes against the principal then has to be subtracted from the $2,000 original borrowing. Okay, so then we'll subtract that principal, and that'll give us an adjusted balance, right? And that's what we'll use for the next 30-day period. And we'll do the process again. We'll figure out how much the interest is. Then when we do, it's saying, oh, he paid $630. So we'll end up taking that interest off of the $630, which gives us the amount that goes against principal. And we'll apply that principal against the adjusted balance that we have here, right? And that'll give us a new adjusted balance, which then we go through the same process over here. Okay, and when we get down to the 120 days, we'll know how much is due on that 120th day. So that's it in theory. And so now let's go through the calculations. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to start out with, remember, interest is equal to principal times rate times time. So I have 2,000 times 10%, right? So that's 10% times the time, okay? And it's a 120-day note, right? And we're talking about the first 45 days. So 45 over, we're going to use, let's see here, and it says use ordinary interest, which is 360. So when we do the math here, 2,000 times 10% times 45 is 9,000 over 360. So we're dividing that by 360, and we get $25 in interest. Okay. So if I have $25 in interest, and he pays, all right, so let me write this in here. So my interest for this period is $25, okay? and he's paying $700. So we take the interest out first, so we have to take out the $25, and that means we have $675, which now goes against the principal, right? And since he's borrowed $2,000, okay, and we subtract the 675 that went against the principal, that gives us $1,325 is our new balance at the 45-day mark. Okay, so our new balance is $1,325. Okay, the interest was 25, and the amount we applied against the principal was 675. Okay, right now I'm stop and pause and rewind or whatever you have to do in order to copy all of this down, because I'm erasing the calculations here, as you can see, and so that we can continue working on. Okay, so at this point in time, right here, okay, we have a new balance of $1,325. Okay, and we're going to work across the next 30-day period before he makes the next partial payment. So 1,325 at 10% times 30 days over 360. Right, we do the math. 1,325 times 10% times 30 is, combining pen, $3,975 over 360. So we divide by 360, and that gives us interest of $11.04. Okay, so that's our interest in this period here. Interest is equal to $11.04. Now, a payment of $630 was made, right? And we subtract out the $11.04 of interest because that gets paid first due to the U.S. rule. And that gives us, let's see, 1 from 9 is 8, 2 is 1. That gives us $618.96 that goes against the principal, right? So against the principal is $618.96, right? And since our new adjusted balance was $1,325, we have to subtract the $618.96, right? Because that's going against the principal, and that gives us a revised adjusted of $706.04 for a principal balance. Okay, so right here at day 75, our principal now is $706.04. Okay, pause the video, write all of that down because I have to erase it. Okay, now, and I'll use black, so we're here at 75 days, right? And our principal is $706.04, right? And between 75 days and 120 days is a 45-day period, okay? 75 from 120. So $706.04 times 10% times 45 over 360. Okay, so 706.04 times 10% times 45. Let me do that again. 706.04 times 10% times 45 days is 3,177.18 over 360. So we divide by 360, and we end up with interest of $8.83. Okay, so my interest is $8.83. Now, we're paying off the rest of the loan, okay? We don't have to sit, we're not subtract, I mean, we're not making a partial payment here. We're paying whatever is due, okay? So what was due was the principal at day 75, which is this, let me go back to red, okay? Which was this 706.04. That was my principal at the beginning of that period. And I accrued $8.83 of principal during this amount of time. So my maturity value, and we go back to that formula, is equal to principal plus interest. So I have 706.04 plus the interest of 883, okay, and that gives me a total amount of $714.87 is how much is going to be paid on the 120th day. Okay, 714.87 as my maturity value. Okay. Now, the total amount of interest, right? Because it's asking to determine the total interest. Well, the total interest is the, let me find a little space over here. The total interest was the original $25 here, right? It was the 1104 here, and it's this 883 here. $25 for 45 days, 1104 for the next 30, and $8.83 for the 45 days. Okay, so the total of those three is $44.87. So that's my total interest. Okay. All right, that was kind of a long problem. When I look at the screen, it does look kind of convoluted or whatever have you, but that's why I said, write this down. I mean, I'm using just one slide here because I don't want to be copying everything. It's not like I have sheets of paper to be, you can look at 3 or 4 different sheets. I mean, if I were doing this problem, yeah, I probably would have used 3 different sheets of paper. I would have used one sheet of paper just for the 45-day period right here. I would have used one sheet of paper for that 45-day period calculation. I would have used one sheet of paper for this 30-day calculation and one sheet of paper for this 45-day calculation. So, and I would have just been able to refer back to the data. But because I'm just using one slide, a little bit sloppy. But hey, like I said, this is ad hoc. I'm not doing this professionally. It's just my thought process as I'm working through the problem as if I was a student. So this one problem has taken 13 minutes, and I'm going to stop here and pick up with problem 25 in the next video.